This is how it's gonna be. This is what you think of me. It's going down like I told you. This is how it's gonna be. I'll be the last man standing here. I'm not going anywhere. It's going down like I told you. I'll be the last man standing here. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. I'll have you begging for mercy, begging for mercy. Oh, I'm dangerous. So dangerous.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Combat Misfits. I hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. I'm Dave Miletto. Alongside of me is Chris Thedick. What's going on, man?
What's going on, guys?
How are you doing today?
Good on this awful weather of rain and a little chilly out, man. It's pretty crappy out here in Philly.
Yes, the East Coast is having a damper of a day, but let that not be a less energy of our podcast. We've got a lot of action to get into. Don't forget, we are live on YouTube. Go subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. We are live on Twitch. We are live on Facebook. We are live on every platform. Go like us and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You know, if you're at the gym, you can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts and all the platforms that you know that exist. We're on there, we're branching out, So, we're just coming off of the pay-per-view from Saturday. We reacted it to Sunday. We reacted to it on Sunday. If you want to go back into our feed, you can rewatch that episode and get our reactions from all the chaos that happens between Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. But we are on to a brand new fight week, and we've got a lot of news to get into. And, usually after a pay-per-view, it's a B- kind of card, you think, Chris?
Yeah, I'll say like a B-, maybe a C card.
So, we got Thiago Santos in the main event. He's facing Magomed Ankalaev. And, we're going to get into all the action on that card, but we want to get into a lot of hot topics right now because we have a free, one of the most top noticed prospects in MMA right now. And Kayla Harrison, we found out breaking news yesterday that Kayla Harrison has re-signed to the PFL. No UFC, no Bellator. Come on, man. It's not what we wanted.
No, it wasn't. Like, I wanted to see her in the UFC, but from what I've heard is the UFC lowballed her. They really didn't give her the money that she deserves. Like, she's a big name in the MMA community. She brings a lot of eyes. She's the new big dog of the fighting. They're saying that she could be the new Cyborg, the one who's not in the UFC, had a big jaw, big name, and all that. But I think what it is that we will not know how good she really is if she's not in the UFC, because that's where all the best fighters go, is the UFC. They offered her a really low ball contract, and she got a hefty payday from the PFL and went back to the PFL and got paid. I think that's where you're at in the MMA world, seeing how everybody's ridiculing them, what they're paying, how they pay their fighters. Even Jake Paul says it publicly, and he has a strong following. They don't pay their fighters. And here you are, other UFC fighters go to different organizations and, oh, this is the most I've ever got paid. That brings eyes to you like, whoa, Why am I going to go to the UFC, fight tougher fighters, and barely get paid? I can go to the PFL and get paid hefty and fight B-minus fighters. Why not? That's where they're at.
So here's my thoughts on it, right? So the PFL has this kind of tournament, and she's guaranteed to make $1 million this year, if she wins this tournament. I think, there's several factors that go into this, the comfortability of making a lot of money rather than, facing the bigger names like Juliana Penne, or going to Bellator and fighting Chris Cyborg, or even fighting Amanda Nunes. I mean, there was a lot of things that were probably in her mind, you know, and ultimately she went with this, guaranteed pretty much $1 million from PFL. I mean, she's dominant. There's nobody in there. We know that, Chris. We've been saying this for a while. I mean, she fights at 155 pounds. So the smart move, UFC doesn't even have that kind of division. They go up to 145. So it's your mic's not working.
Sorry. Kayla's a bigger fighter than a lot of these other girls, and I think that's a big mix-up for a lot of these chicks. I think that's why she's so dominant too, is that she's well-rounded.
I mean, and from what I heard, so the PFL is going to go to pay-per-view pretty soon, which is weird as shit. I mean, I don't know how well they can do it with pay-per-view. They're not like a UFC, and they don't really have the backing like the UFC does. But
it'd probably be like a cheap one though for pay-per-view. It might be a real cheap one.
You would have to think, right? They ain't charging $75. I mean,
no way.
They're looking. From what I heard, they've been looking to sign a lot of good fighters to try and compete with her. They did sign Julia Budd, who, she's a decent fighter. She's pretty well-rounded, but I don't think, in my opinion, it was the right move for her. I mean, I'm not her, so financially, she speaks for herself, but let's be real, man. I wanted to see her fight the big top dogs, the top women, and it's a shame. I mean, she said she'll get it. They're looking to co-promote, from what the PFL has said. Now, there will Kayla Harrison and PFL co-promote and fight Julia Penne or Amanda Nunes.
I don't think that's the fight to make. I think they want to see Nunes. Even though Julia Penne is the champion, which I predicted, I just want to do a reminder that I call Julia Penne all day long. I don't think they want her as a champion. They want Nunes to be champion and Kayla Harrison to fight Nunes. I think that is the biggest fight to make.
Well, I think that's a possibility because, initially I didn't think that was possible because they were in the same camp. They were at the same American Top Team. However, I think if I believe I'm correct, I think Amanda Nunes left the camp. She left the gym from American Top Team after the loss against Juliana Penne. And I'm like 90% certain on that, but so that's possible. I mean, now they're no longer teammates. I think she has a lot of respect for Amanda Nunes, and maybe they've even sparred against each other, in the gym. So, I don't know, man. I just don't know what to make out of this signing.
I'm pretty sure they've sparred and took it easy on each other. And I think Nunes always wanted to fight Kayla Harrison. I think she wanted to fight her. I think Kayla Harrison wants to fight Nunes. It's just they're in different promotions. I think it comes down to the fact of it is who is going to make the first move for them to fight each other. I think they want Kayla Harrison to win this tournament, the PFL, because she's a moneymaker. Obviously, she's a big draw. And I think the UFC wants Penne to lose to Nunes and to the Ultimate Fighter. I think that is a big thing too. They want her to lose.
I mean, we're gonna have to see, So for now, it stays that until we see a fight being made with Kayla Harrison and PFL. I mean, I think they're going to start ramping things up within the next month or two, and I mean, we'll go from there. I mean, let's see where Kayla Harrison, she's going to be dominant, man. Like, ain't nobody beating her. Like, let's be real. Like,
she's too big, man. She's big. She's quick. She's well rounded. I think that is a nightmare for a lot of these girls who are trying to make a name for themselves and try to fight her. I think they're just well outmatched by her.
yeah. So in other news going around the internet, we put this post up on our Combat Misfits Facebook page. And if you want to chime in and put your comments on our Facebook page under that post, we'd greatly appreciate it. But I mean, Tyson Fury, man, he comes out and he basically says he's done, after this Dylan White fight.
He's up there, man. I don't think he wants to fight forever. I don't think he wants to be like a Floyd, fight till he gets 50 wins. I would like to see him fight Usyk. If prayers and hopes and everybody to Ukraine, if he comes out and all that, because I know he's back home fighting for his country.
Yeah.
I like for him to fight Usyk. So I understand and I get it that he wants to hang it up. I totally respect his decision because it's not a long term kind of thing, getting punched in the face. I would just like for him to fight Usyk at least once. I like to see that and unify all the belts. Get like a unified champion that we can see in a heavyweight division for once, and then go out like that. And if he could do that, be a unified champion and go out on top, but he's at the point where he don't want to fight. I don't.
I mean, he says he's got $100 million in the bank, So,
I believe it. I totally believe that. With him and all his endorsements, 100%, I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, he's 30. He's 33. He'll be 34 August 12th. They fight on April 23rd, and I mean, it's a mandatory challenger. Dylan White was a mandatory challenger for him. So, I mean, he's going into this, with thoughts of retirement can be scary. I mean, I think Tyson Fury can handle it. I definitely do. If anybody can handle, having one foot out the door and then still continuing to go on to their next current fight in the meantime, like, I think he can handle it. I mean, but, we're getting to the point where it's like, I understand his aspect. You don't want to fight too long. You don't want to be in the game too long.
Right. He still has a young age, too. Like, he's still young. 33 is not old. It's still young. He wants to live his full life, especially with like $100 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get out of bed for $100 million. I don't know what that's like. Maybe one day, but I mean,
shit. I would.
I'm proud of him how far he's come. I like the kind of fighter he is, and yeah, I mean, why keep going and possibly get seriously injured or suffer from CTE? I mean, you don't need that,
No.
But is he trolling? He's trolled in the past, bro. He's trolled in the past. He's said he's retired. He's said he was retiring at least 3 times before and then came out and continued fighting. So I don't know what to take this as,
I think what it is back in the past is like he was going through a lot. Mental issues, drug use, all that. Like he was going through a lot. Now he's like succeeded and did like he's like on top again, I think what it is. Like he's on top. I think he likes that feeling. But to hear him say, "Oh, I want to do one more fight," and that's it. He won the belts. That's what he wanted to do was win the belts, beat Wilder. Now he's gonna fight Dylan White, and after Dylan White, maybe fight Usyk. I can see him say, "Oh, I'll fight Usyk," but I mean, if he's already calling it quits after Dylan White, I don't see him entertaining that idea to fight Usyk. I think he'll just say, I'm out. Probably retire for a few years, maybe come out of retirement and try to fight for a belt again, depending who's on top. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't know. It's very unsure. I'm unsure about it. I don't know.
Yeah, it leaves a lot of things up in the air, because, deep down, I did want that Alexander Usyk fight. I mean, who knows how long this war between Russia and Ukraine is going to be. I mean, we're not going to get into politics or anything, but, much respect to him for stepping up and fighting for his country and putting his fighting career on, standstill, if you want to call it. I mean, while he, honorably defends his country, that's, much oblige to him. I mean, it's awesome, but yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see. I mean, that fight's a little more than a month away. And I mean, I'm looking forward to that fight. There's a lot of, now there's a lot on the line as to, what kind of mentality is he going? We've known he's, suffered from depression. He says he's a happy man, I mean, he says he's in positive moods. He has a lot of business endeavors to conquer, and I mean, we'll have to find out. I mean, time will tell, man. Time will.
And like to touch on what you said is like I do believe he's in a happier mood because like if you see any of his interviews now and the way he talks, he's always positive. He's always happy. He's always laughing and smiling. And he looks more positive because I know with people with depression and all that, they have a smile on their face, but they're really hurting deep down inside and really like sad. So he looks different in now more recent interviews. Like back in the day when he was really depressed, you could tell he didn't look the way he should be. And now he's like in tip shape. He's like smiling. He's clowning. He's talking trash. That's Tyson Fury. I think he is more level-headed than he was before. So if he's making a decision on probably retiring with a level head, it most likely means he's going to retire.
We're going to have to find out. All right, we're going to get into one more topic because this was breaking news today.
Oh.
Stipe Miocic possibly making his return for July 2nd, International Fight Week against Tai Tuivasa. I mean, what are your thoughts about this, Chris, man? I mean, Stipe's been out for so long. Yeah. And he was regarded as, one of the best heavyweights in the UFC, during his championship run. I mean, if there isn't a scarier opponent right now than Tai Tuivasa to return to, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just.
I think Tuivasa is a one-hitter kind of guy. Like I don't see skill that much in him. I think Stipe has more skill. Power will go towards Tuivasa. In the heavyweight division, man, it only takes one punch to drop a guy.
And that's not to say that Stipe don't have power. I mean, he's known. I mean,
of course.
There's only one fighter, right, in the heavyweight division in UFC that has knocked out an opponent while walking backwards. When he was fighting Fabricio Verdum, he literally knocked him out walking backwards. Like that.
Yep.
The amount of power you would have to think, just sit on that for a second and realize that's how powerful this dude really is. I mean, yes, he's been out for a little bit. I mean,
wait, you said Stipe is the only UFC fighter to knock out someone walking backwards?
In the heavyweight division, yeah.
Oh, in the heavyweight. Okay,
in the heavyweight division, he literally was walking backwards, kind of, being pressured, threw a punch and knocked Fabricio flat the F out. Like, unbelievable. I mean, a lot of people have been overlooking Stipe as he's been away. He's been doing his firefighter thing, much respect to him. I mean, his last loss, I'm looking at it right now, March 27th Oh, so he really hasn't been gone that long, but it feels like forever. March 27th, 2021. But it feels like he's been out forever for some reason. I don't understand that. I mean, he was knocked out by Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou took the belt from him. And, I guess it's because like the heavyweight division title, with Francis Ngannou not knowing what the F he's doing in the UFC, I guess it's kind of throwing me for a loop that hasn't been gone that long.
No, I don't think he's been gone that long either. Like I don't think so, but
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm excited for that. I mean, July 2nd is International Fight Week, so that's a very, impressive fight to look forward to, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, that's all the news we have for right now. We're going to get into the main card. We're going to get into UFC Fight Night 203 predictions. Now, like I said at the beginning of the show, this card is decent. There's some fights in here to pay attention to, but usually, like I said, coming off of pay-per-view, it's, but hey, it's on ESPN and it's on ESPN early,
And it's free. That's the best word. Free.
It's free. So if you have
pay $75 for Kobe and Masvidal, you get to watch a UFC event for free.
Yeah, wait. Speaking of this, did you see that Drake put $250K
or 75,000 on Masvidal?
And then Masvidal came out and was like, "Oh, my bad. I'll take you to dinner sometime. Like, sorry about that." Like, this is crazy. Drake had to be pissed, man.
Well, at least he said sorry.
He did say sorry. Yeah, I'll give it to him. But I mean,
got money. You think he cares?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, but that's
a hurt. Drake gives a shit if you lost it.
That
money.
is a hurt piece right there. I mean, you literally lost $250,000 in 25 minutes.
No, I don't think. No, I think Drake don't even give it. He could have bet $1 million and still not care.
I mean, yeah, he makes it. He has a lot of money in the bank, but I mean, regardless of rich or not, that's a shit ton of money gone.
Hold on. When he was playing Fortnite or whatever, a game Fortnite with Ninja, right? A guy named Ninja. He said, "Yo, you win this and clutch it up for me. I'll give you 30 racks." All right, give him 30 racks. Come on, you think that guy cares about money over a video game? For him to win, he gave you 30,000. Come on, stop it.
Yeah, I mean, he's sleeping very well at night. So I mean, it is what it is. I just wanted to touch base on that. Sorry to take off topic, as we get into the UFC 203 predictions. We've got Thiago Santos versus Magomed Ankalaev. Number 5 and number 6 at light heavyweight clashing together. Thiago Santos has, he's faced the top competition. He's had his shot. He's fought John Jones. He's fought Glover Teixeira. He's fought the top dogs in the light heavyweight division. I mean, and then you have this young gun, 29-year-old Magomed Ankalaev, that's about to walk into the octagon Saturday and face, look across from you and get ready to throw hands in your face. I mean, look, the dude's 16-1. He hasn't lost since 2000, I think 16. I mean, he's on a 6-fight win streak, man. I mean, it's impressive. I mean, it's very impressive. And I mean, I was looking at, kind of the situation where, Thiago Santos is, getting up there in age. He's not as I mean, he says he's hungry, he said he's coming for another title run, but
of course you don't want to say, nah, I'm just fighting just to fight. Of course he wants the title. I just don't. I think he has a long order against this young gun. This young cat is going to give Santos a run for his money.
Yeah, I mean, so Thiago Santos is 38 years old against a 29-year-old young and hungry opponent, that, I mean, he's been dominant. He's been finishing people. And I mean, there's not much to say about this fight other than the fact that these are two top light heavyweight contenders, and with Glover Teixeira sitting at the top, who knows? I mean, who knows if
I
he's
think anybody in the top 10 can beat Glover Teixeira. I think he just has the belt by a fluke. I think Glover would get worked by any of the top 10 fighters.
he's been surprising people. I don't know what chance Glover Teixeira stands against Yuri Prohaska. That's it. Sorry about that. So Yuri Prohaska, he's set to, Glover set to defend the belt against, I think around April. It's coming up. I think it's around I think it was on UFC 274 and they removed it and put it a week before.
Right.
So I think it's on around April 30th or something like that.
Well, yeah, I think he got lucky against Blachowicz. I think he did. I think Blachowicz should have won that, or could have won that if he would have lasted longer.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, Glover Teixeira, I think he submitted him in that fight. So he submitted him, and it says a lot. I mean, the dude's 40 years old, man. I mean, he's
yeah, I know. But like I said, in the top 10, he's going to lose. And if he fought another person, he's probably going to lose. I think he's not going to defend the title right. I think he's going to lose it right away.
I mean, we're going to have to see. But, I mean, these guys are coming. They're coming for this belt, and, like, I was looking at the rankings, right? So they're a little diminished. I mean, there's not many contenders, there for, Glover Teixeira. I mean, you think like an Anthony Smith could beat him, or there's not many guys up there, I don't think, that could beat Glover Teixeira, even though you say
every single one of them can beat him.
The only scary one right now is the guy he's going to defend the belt against, which is Yuri Prohaska. I mean, that's a really scary dude. I think he beats Thiago Santos again. If Thiago Santos were to win this weekend, I think he easily beats him. He already submitted him.
You're saying Teixeira would beat Santos again?
Oh yeah, he submitted him back in. He submitted him back in November 7th of 2020. So not even that long ago.
Doesn't mean he can beat him again.
He's got a great submission game, man.
So you think he could beat Blachowicz again?
I think he could beat Blachowicz again. I do.
No.
I think he could beat Blachowicz. I think he could beat Glover Teixeira, or I think he could beat Thiago Santos. The only one I don't think right now that he can beat is Yuri Prohaska and this Magomed Ankalaev. I mean, Magomed Ankalaev is, no joke. I mean, his last loss, I think his last loss was against Paul Craig, who's sitting at number 11 in the division. And like I said,
I just don't see it. I don't see Glover beating anybody the second time around he fought them. I don't think he could beat anybody in top 10.
He's already beaten them. He's already beat them.
Yeah, by a fluke.
Okay, I would give you the fluke if it was a knockout. If he caught him with a good punch and he went out. When you get submitted, it's pretty definitive. It's pretty. There's
really, because like if you move a certain way, right? Like say someone's like crushing your liver with their knee, you move a certain way, you can get into a position where you can't move again, and then the guy just locks in like a darts choke or an arm triangle. You're kind of fucked. Submissions are more strategic, I get that, but it does fall on the realm of luck. You need your guy to move a certain way so you can easily lock in the type of submission that you want. Like it's almost like you're forcing your opponent to move, and it's strategic, but it is luck at the same time. You know how hard it is to lock in a submission? It's pretty tough.
That's what I'm saying. So if
Yeah.
okay, I get it if Thiago made a mistake, and Glover Teixeira took his neck, but it's very definitive when you submit somebody. It's basically either it's basically them saying I give up, them tapping out, they're tapping out and they're saying you win, I give up,
All right.
rather than a knockout where you really have no say, and that can be disputed. It can be a lucky punch. I think Glover Teixeira deserves more credit than possibly you're giving him. You're saying he can't beat anybody in the top 10, and it was a fluke, right? You're saying that.
Well, here's an example. When Chael Sonnen was ground and pounding Anderson Silva, and Silva threw up a triangle and submitted him. Luck or skill?
Wait, say it again.
Silva beat Chael Sonnen with a submission. You're saying that's luck or skill?
Skill.
What?
I think so. Yeah.
What?
I mean, Chael Sonnen is a great wrestler.
6 seconds left, and he just threw up an arm triangle and then submitted him with 6 seconds. That was skill? Or that was just pure luck?
He may have capitalized on a mistake, but you can't do away with the fact that Chael Sonnen has been known for great takedown defense when he was back in the day. He was he was very overlooked for how good his wrestling was. I mean, for when he was in his prime. So I get it. Yes, 6 seconds, whatever, before the fight was over. Okay. Maybe it was luck, but it was a mistake that he capitalized on,
I agree with that. Like, I think what it was is Chael Sonnen overexerted himself. He was going to win. And he got careless with the last maybe 30 seconds. Silva threw up a triangle and ended it. That was just pure luck on his behalf. Even though I think Silva was going to lose and all that, and kudos for him for clutching out that win. But man, with 30 seconds left, you had luck on your side that he messed up and he threw up a triangle and got lucky. You got lucky.
I get it.
Shame in that. You still won. You're lucky.
Yeah. I mean, a victory is a victory,
Right.
I mean, Glover Teixeira is 42 years old, So if anything, he gets beat. Yo, man, like he was already a champion.
You got your title. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
He can go out on top, but he still wants to continue fighting, and he's fighting these, top dogs. I mean, these guys are Thiago Santos is known for great power punching. So if he does capitalize on Magomed Ankalaev this weekend, which I don't see it happening. In my predictions, Magomed is going to walk through him.
I agree.
I mean, it's hard to. It's hard. These Russians are no fucking joke, man. These Russians are no joke, and it says a lot when you only have one loss, and I want to correct myself. It was back in 2018 that he last lost. So I mean, but still, I mean, that's a significant time lapse.
It's a big gap. 4 years is a big gap.
So I mean, we'll have to be, look forward to it. But in my opinion, man, there's fights on this card that we're going to dive into, and I think they should be the main event, because let's be real. I get it. It's light heavyweight. They're in the top 5, top 6 right here, but there's really fights on this card that you should not sleep on. And I'm going to bring it to these people's attention, So, I mean, there's some lackluster cards on that, these lackluster fights that they kind of throw in here. I mean, there's a lot of fights, even the co-main event. So let's get into the co-main event real quick, okay? Because it's about Marlon Moraes. Does he win or does he go home? I mean, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. How the fuck do you get, pardon my language, but how do you get a co-main event spot when you have a 3-fight losing streak? Please tell me, Chris. I mean,
I don't know. I think what our caption on the bottom says, win or go home. He needs a win. If not, he could get cut.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he is
could
over
be.
in Thailand right now. He's been showing a lot of sparring footage of him in Thailand, and he actually got COVID while he was over there in Thailand, and he had an 11-day hospital run, So, I mean, I don't know where the heck his head is right now going into this fight, and he's fighting Song Yadong. And it's funny as shit to say that name, but Song Yadong is 24 years old. He's a young and hungry up and coming fighter as well. This is going down at bantamweight. And Marlon Moraes, I feel like, he came over, from World Series of Fighting. I don't know if you remember. I guess
Had a
it's,
lot of hype.
yeah, I guess it's now considered Professional Fighters League, if I'm correct. But so he came over, he was a champion over there in his respect, but he hasn't had the best shot at a UFC career. I mean, he
No.
did knock out, or he did beat Jose Aldo, So I mean, that's impressive, but I mean, it's hard to say where this guy stands in this division, and like I said, why he's even on the co-main event is beyond me. I mean, but he was KO'd by Rob Font. He was KO'd by Corey Sandhagen. So I mean, he has fought tough competition. They're not giving him easy opponents,
Nope.
by any
See,
means.
and that brings it back to the Chimaev stuff. So Morales had a lot of hype behind him, huge. Because he came to the UFC, got a pretty good win streak, and then they fed him to dogs, top fighters. And guess what? Start losing a lot, getting his ass kicked a lot. Now he's on a 3-fight lose streak. What do you think is gonna happen? Same thing with these Chimaev and Makhachev guys. They fought nobodies their whole career, and when you start fighting top good fighters, they might get knocked off their hype train, and they're gonna just go down with the wind, like Morales did. Same recipe. Same recipe. You don't ease them in, not all.
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I don't really know where he's where his head is at. I mean, I don't think he is going to have a good shot at Song Yadong. I mean, Song Yadong is on a 2-fight win streak, and Song Yadong hasn't really fought. This will be possibly his toughest competition yet. In my mindset, I mean, it'll be a way for him to climb the ladder. He's still young. Like I said, he's 24 years old. Let's not rush this dude at bantamweight. I mean, I mean,
I think it's a good test for Dong. I think it is. Because Morales fought top fighters. He's been in the game for a bit now. Dong, I think that would be a good test his mettle, as they say, to see where he's at in the UFC and in his fighting career. If he does well, he could go far. If he loses, it could be a wake-up call for Morales to wake up and say, hey, look, I got to get back on my A game. And Dong, it can wake him up because he suffered a big loss, gets a top fighter, and like, all right, this is what I need to work on to become better. I think it's a good fight for both of them. But to see how the fight turns out, I think that's where the excitement comes from.
And here's the thing. A lot of people will say, well, Marlon Moraes beat the current champion in Aljamain Sterling back, a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you this. Aljamain Sterling is not the freaking champion. He was lucky to win that belt, man. And I'll say that with confidence. He got an illegal shot to his head, and I think Peter Yan, when they face off, I think that's also happening at I think it's happening at the next pay-per-view where Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. And we're going to find out that Aljamain Sterling, was just holding hostage to that freaking belt for as long as he could. But I mean, he's a paper champion. I'm sorry. I mean,
he is.
He got lucky. I mean, and with all his neck surgeries and having to postpone this fight with Peter Yan, this rematch. I mean, it's time, man. I say if he pulls out of this fight next month,
I
against.
think they'll strip him. I think they'll strip him at that point. They would have to. There's no
They
freaking
better
way.
strip him, man. They better strip him. I'm telling you, because that's ridiculous, man. I think he's held this belt for what feels like 2 or 3.
A little over a year.
Yeah,
Over a year.
it had to been longer than that. It feels like I don't
It
know.
feels like that because he keeps backing out. I think that's why everyone thinks it's longer because he keeps backing out.
Yeah, and it's let's just say I don't think when that rematch happens, I don't think Aljamain Sterling is going to stand a chance against Peter Yan.
Oh no, nope. I think Peter Yan's gonna go off on him. Wait to put his hands around that little neck.
And that's what we need because this bantamweight, division has been stagnant. It has. Maybe that's why they put it as the co-main event. To start getting some movement in this division with the title on the line next month. Who knows? But I in my prediction, Song Yadong will be the victor on Saturday night. He'll move forward. Yeah, he'll move forward and he'll get bigger. I mean, it'll be a tough test to him, but I think I think Song Yadong is capable of taking that victory.
No, I agree. I think Dong probably will win it by maybe decision. I think it'll go decision because Morales is a pretty tough guy. I think it might be a decision win for Dong.
I agree. So, also on the card, Sodiq Yusuff versus Alex Caceres. Most of these people that are going to watch this, if you're not a hardcore fan, you're not going to know who either of these guys are either. I mean, this is strictly going to be a card, with hardcore fans' intentions. These guys, you're not going to know who the hell they are. So we're going to show you who they are. So Alex Caceres is, one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. He's on a hell of a win streak. Let's be real. He's on a 5-fight win streak, and it's impressive in his own right. This is going to be going down in the featherweight division. So, Alexander Volkanovski, holds strong as the champion in this division.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a potential for, possible contender title status. Maybe if Alex Caceres can win this fight, it'll start bringing the talks of being, a possible champion in the mix. But across from him in the octagon on Saturday will be Sodiq Yusuff, who's 11-2, and he's coming off a loss against Arnold Allen, back in April of last year. But before that, he was on a significant win streak. So, I mean, can he bounce back against Alex Caceres and beat Alex Caceres and prove to the UFC and the matchmakers that he belongs at the top of the division? I mean, we'll have to see. I
think it will just see how. I think it's a good thing too. He's fighting Alex Caceres. Yusuff is because if Yusuff can beat, I think that's a big turning point. Saying, "Hey, I had one loss. I was a hiccup. I'm coming back. I'm better than ever." Then you have Caceres solidifying his win streak. But if he beats Yusuff and be like, "Hey, I deserve a title shot. I'm on a 5-year win streak. Blah blah. I've beaten this person, that person. Give me a step up." I think that's where we're mostly at with them two. I think it's almost about who shows up, and that matters for a title shot. Because they both are pretty in good contention. Because if Yusuf comes back and beats Saris, he's probably 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot. Saris, he's about maybe 1 fight away from a title shot. If he wins this convincingly, he's like, "Hey, look, what about my contendership?" I think but thinking about it, just saying that out loud. Sorry. There might be one or 2 fight. I think Yusuf is probably 2 fights away from a title shot. Saris is probably 1 more shot. So if he beats Yusuf, 1 more, and Yusuf has to win this one and 2 more for a title shot. I think that's where we're at.
well, the scary thing is that when I'm looking at the rankings here, with Alex Caceres on a 5-fight win streak, he's only ranked 15 in the division, which is crazy when you think on the lightweight division where Islam Makhachev is on a 9-fight win streak and he's in title talks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but the bantamweight division or the featherweight division is stacked. I mean, you've got Brian Ortega, you've got Yair Rodriguez, and you got, the Korean Zombie who's supposed to face Alexander Volkanovski, in the next pay-per-view or I think it's the next pay-per-view as well. I think there's 2 title fights on the next pay-per-view. And one of them. So, I mean, I think he could really make a name for himself. I think Alexander Caceres can make a name for himself with this fight and prove that he belongs in the top 10 because Sodiq Yusuff is actually ranked number 12 at featherweight. I mean, we're going to have to see where they stand, come Saturday. And, in my prediction, I think as much as Alex Caceres is facing a very tough opponent, with only 2 losses on his record, I think Alex Caceres can beat him. I think he's. I don't know if you've seen Alex Caceres fight, and for the people that are watching, I mean, let's be real. He's very limber. Alex Caceres loves to do a lot of unpredictable movement in the octagon, and I think that's why he's been so successful so far. And let me just touch on this real quick because a lot of people are probably saying Alex Caceres, oh yeah, he's on a 5-fight win streak, but he's top 15. His last loss was against a Gracie. And for those that don't know who the Gracie family is in the UFC and all MMA in general, the Gracie family is who brought MMA to the kind of level that it is. Yes, there was billionaires, that took it further. But the Gracie family, brought that jiu-jitsu into the MMA world, and it's not to say that, Alex Caceres is, it just says that, Kron Gracie, who he lost to, I mean, you're going to lose to Gracie. They're the best Brazilian, they're the best jiu-jitsu artists there is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come to face a Gracie, you're bound to freaking lose, man. I mean, you're bound to freaking lose.
If you go to the ground with a Gracie, you're pretty much
you're screwed,
but
yeah.
I've seen some of the Gracies lose. Like, if you stand and bang with them, they're going to go out.
Yeah. I mean, so we'll see what happens with that fight. So the next fight that I want to touch base on, that people should pay attention to this next fight that we're going to talk about. Drew Dober versus Terrence McKinney. Now, for those who don't know who Terrence McKinney is, he just fought 2 weeks ago, and he's 27 years old. He's had a hell of a time in his life. He's overcome addiction. He has come back from pretty much dying twice from when I looked up his, footage and, him speaking. He's died twice in the hospital from an overdose, and come back to be in the UFC and be as dominant as he's been. I mean, for those who don't know who Terrence McKinney is, Chris, he holds the record for the fastest finish in UFC lightweight history. The fastest finish. He's only actually fought 2 times in the UFC so far, and his first freaking time in the UFC nailed a 7-second finish. 7-second finish. and I mean, let's be real. he's coming into this fight. This was originally supposed to be Ricky Glenn, who was supposed to be in this fight against Drew Dober. Drew Dober tore his groin. Don't want to speak too much on that. Gotta freaking hurt. But in steps Terrence McKinney, who could, like I mentioned to you as well, Chris, before, Islam Makhachev ran through Drew Dober. A lot of people have. When you're looking at Drew Dober's record, he's 23-11. Not that good of a record, and he's on a 2-fight losing streak. And I think he's pulled a terrible matchup against Terrence McKinney. I think he was more favored to possibly beat Ricky Glenn. And with Ricky Glenn pulling out, this has got to be terrifying for Drew Dober in his mind. Face somebody like Terrence McKinney. Like I said, his last fight was against Faraz Zaim, and he submitted him in the first round. Terrence McKinney, for all you guys watching, is a fighter to pay attention to in the UFC. I think the sky is the limit for this guy. I really do. I mean, are you aware of how dominant Terrence McKinney can be, Chris?
I think it's hard to say because he's taking the fight on 2-week notice.
I get it, and like I said, I mean, he has a 12-3 record, but he is on a five fight win streak. All 5 freaking wins have been in the first round. The first round. How more confident does this guy need to be?
I think he's extremely confident. I think he has all the tools to beat Dober. The only thing is, it's such short notice. A lot of the fighters don't have a very good record when they fight on short notice. A lot of fighters do not have a good record fighting on short notice, and it sucks. I think what needs to happen is, if you're fighting on short notice, I know you want to get paid. The more money, the better. I get it, but make sure you make the right decision. I don't have the stats on me by chance, but I think they only have like a 20% winning record chance of winning when they do fights on short notice. That's not a good chance. That does not look good.
Well, speaking of that, because of Bobby Green and him getting demolished against Islam Makhachev.
Well, you can say the same thing with Chad Mendes when he took short notice against Conor. He got worked.
Oh, he got worked, yeah.
I can't think of another one off the top of my head right now, but there's a few others who take fights on short notice and they get bombed out. It's not. I get it. I get the short notice thing. I totally get it. But why do you think some of the other fighters are like, oh, you're gonna fight this guy on short notice? Nope, I'm good. I'll wait. I don't know. I just think the short notice thing is a big risk. It's a high risk, high reward kind of thing. If it works, you look like a star. If it doesn't, you kind of like, oh, you should have had more training time. Yeah, thanks. It's a high risk, high reward kind of thing.
It definitely is a high risk, high reward kind of thing. I mean, but I think I'm very confident in Terrence McKinney getting this job done. I think it'll open the eyes to a lot of casual fans, because they should be paying attention to this guy. He's young. He's 27. I mean, and he's coming in very, very, to capture people's minds. I mean, with these significant wins, and hit, like I said, his first fight, creating a UFC record. That's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, not even Conor McGregor, who was in the same lightweight division, created a kind of record like that. I mean,
well, he did with featherweight. He did it with featherweight.
Yeah, 13 seconds against Jose Aldo. I mean, yes, but the lightweight division, I mean, that is a very important division, with extremely top dogs in that division. And I mean, for you to make a name in there, you got to do stuff like this. And he's doing it, man. He's doing it.
Yeah, he really is. He is. And that's what makes it exciting is McKinley. I think McKinley probably has strongest opportunity to beat Dober on short notice. I think he'd be one of the few to take a fight on short notice and win because how dominant he is. That's my take. I think he could probably win and shock Dober with a win on short notice.
I mean, we're gonna have to find out. I mean, I got high hopes for this dude, Terrence McKinney, man. I mean,
yeah, but my thing is too, what would happen to Dober if he loses to McKinley on short notice like that? And just say he gets flattened, and McKinley wins and beats Dober on short notice. What happens to Dober? I think that hurts Dober if McKinley comes out on top like that.
I mean, it does. I mean, it definitely does. It'll hurt. It'll hurt Dober because if Terrence McKinney beats him, I mean, then his record's 23-12. I mean, and it
still not bad. Still not bad.
Not bad. No, better than my kind of record. Just nothing. But I mean, he's Drew Dober hasn't had the best of luck. He's fought tough competition as well in the lightweight. That's just what happens in the lightweight division. You want to get in that
such a stacked division. Such a stacked division.
I mean, you're gonna have to fight some top dogs. I mean, and that's let's be real. I mean, he signed up for this. He knows what he's got to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, one more fight on this card. This fight, I'm telling you, do not sleep. Look at the screen. Do not sleep on this fight. Pay attention to this fight. I guarantee this fight will be fight of the night on Saturday.
Whoa.
And you know why I say
bold.
this? You know why I say it? Do you know who Alex Pereira is? Do you know who Alex Pereira is? I say this with such excitement. He's the guy that beat Israel Adesanya twice. In kickboxing. And the reason I say this is a fight to pay attention to, so this fight's going down in the middleweight division. He's coming straight for Israel Adesanya's head, bro. He's coming straight.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming with fire, bro. I mean, he's on a 4-fight win streak. I mean, look, he was the kickboxing champion in glory, dominant kickboxing champion. I think his record over there was 33-7 in kickboxing, and he was a multi-champion, he's a double weight champion, in glory.
Mm-hmm.
And, like I said, he beat Israel Adesanya twice. One by KO, knocked him out flat.
Yep.
And the second was by decision. But the most recent win against him was a knockout. It was a knockout. So, I mean, I don't know what's got to be in Israel Adesanya.
I think Adesanya's watching this fight real close. Close. Because I don't think Adesanya wants him to be up there with him. Honestly. Because Alex is coming in strong in this UFC fight. Because if he wins and he beats Bruno real easy, I think Adesanya's going to be worried that he's coming up.
But this is why I say don't sleep on this fight. Bruno Silva is 3-0 in the UFC. This fight could not be more entertaining. I'm telling you, the paperwork on this fight, it has to be 5-0, has finished all three of his opponents. 6-fight win streak. His last loss is back in 2016. So Bruno Silva doesn't know how to lose more recent. He's stacked up a huge win streak, and he's coming against Alex Pereira, who has been a prospect. UFC went looking for this dude as a potential candidate to possibly beat Israel Adesanya.
Well, yeah, I think Alex has a good chance of beating Adesanya, and I think Adesanya's being dominant as he has been against Whitaker last fight. He looked pretty convincingly. People say Whitaker should have won. I don't see that. I think Adesanya won that fight. So I think Alex probably what would you say? Maybe 2 or 3 more wins, solid victories before he fights Adesanya, depending on who he fights. Maybe.
Now he's not in the rankings yet. He's not in the rankings, but things are looking a little slim, at middleweight. I think he could creep up there rather quickly if Alex Pereira gets this victory. It's not going to be an easy one, man. It's not going to be an easy one. I mean, we're going to find out who this guy, Alex Pereira, really is. He did transition from kickboxing over to MMA, and he's been successful so far. I mean, we're going to have to find out, but I'm telling you, for all you casual fans out there, pay attention to this fight. If there's only one fight on this card you tune into, it's Alex Pereira versus Bruno Silva. I'm telling you, it has to be fireworks. I mean, I really hope this fight, comes to Saturday. No injuries in camp, no issues weight cutting. We don't need that. This fight, like I said in the beginning of this show, this fight could be main event. Yes, I know there are no big names and it's hard to sell, but if the paperwork follows suit, man, this fight is going to be fireworks. And I'm super pumped for just this fight. If I just only watch one fight on Saturday, it will be this fight. It is. It's got expectations with it, man. It really does. So, any ending thoughts, Chris, as we end this podcast?
Just don't forget to like and subscribe our YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, all that, man. All the socials that you think you have and want to listen to us or see us, man. Hit us up, man. We don't mind talking back or anything like that. If you guys want to talk UFC or anything like that, man, we appreciate that.
All right. Well, this has been a great podcast with you, man. I appreciate it. Let's remember and remind people, go like our YouTube page. Go freaking subscribe, please. Hit the bell for all notifications. Go follow us, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Go follow us on TikTok. We're trying to build that strong so we can go live from there. We got a lot more to go with getting followers to be able to go live from there, and that's definitely a goal of ours. Go follow us on our Combat Misfits Facebook page. Go comment in the section of all our posts. We break all news. We don't do rumors on this podcast. It's concrete evidence. That's how we roll. For Dave, myself, and Chris, have a good night, everybody. Be safe. We'll see you Sunday, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Have a good night, everybody.
This is how it's gonna be. This is what you think of me. It's going down like I told you. This is how it's gonna be. I'll be the last man standing here. I'm not going anywhere. It's going down like I told you. I'll be the last man standing here. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. I'll have you begging for mercy, begging for mercy.